Leviticus 23. The Lord spoke to Moses, "Speak to the Israelites and tell them, these are my appointed times, the times of the Lord that you will proclaim as sacred assemblies. Work may be done for 6 days, but on the seventh day there must be a Sabbath of complete rest, a sacred assembly. You are not to do any work. It is a Sabbath to the Lord, wherever you live." The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Speak to the Israelites and say to them, when you enter the land which I am going to give to you and reap its harvest, then you shall bring in the sheaf of the first fruits of your harvest to the priest. He shall wave the sheaf before the Lord, so that you may be accepted. On the day after the Sabbath, the priest shall wave it. Now on the day when you wave the sheaf, you shall offer a male lamb 1 year old, without defect, for a burnt offering to the Lord. Its grain offering shall then be 2/10 of an ephah of the fine flour mixed with oil, an offering by fire to the Lord for a pleasing aroma, with its drink offering, 1/4 of a hin of wine. Until this same day, until you have brought in the offering of your God, you shall eat neither bread, nor roasted grain, nor new growth. This is to be a perpetual statute throughout your generations, wherever you live." You shall also count, starting from the day after the Sabbath, from the day when you brought in the sheaf of the wave offering, there shall be 7 complete Sabbaths, weeks. You shall count 50 days to the day after the 7th Sabbath. Then you shall present a new grain offering to the Lord. You shall bring in from your dwelling places 2 loaves of bread for a wave offering, each of them made from 2/10 of an ephah of a fine flour, baked with leaven, as firstfruits to the Lord. Along with the bread you shall present 7 one-year-old male lambs, without defect, and a bull of the herd, and 2 rams. They are to be a burnt offering to the Lord, with their grain offerings and their drink offerings, an offering by fire of a pleasing aroma to the Lord. You shall also offer 1 male goat for a sin offering, and 2 male lambs, 1 year old, for a sacrifice of peace offerings. The priest shall then wave them with the bread of the firstfruits for a wave offering, with 2 lambs before the Lord. They are to be holy to the Lord for the priest. On this same day you shall make a proclamation as well. You are to have a sacred assembly. You shall do no laborious work. It is to be a perpetual statute wherever you live throughout your generations. When you reap the harvest of your land, you shall not reap to the very corners of your field, nor gather the gleanings of your harvest. You are to leave them for the needy and the foreign resident. I am the Lord your God. Deuteronomy 16. You shall count 7 weeks. You shall begin to count 7 weeks from the time you begin to put the sickle to the standing grain. Then you shall celebrate the Feast of Weeks to the Lord your God with a tribute of a freewill offering of your hand, which you shall give in proportion to how the Lord your God has blessed you. And you shall rejoice before the Lord your God, you and your son and your daughter and your male and female servants, and the Levite who is in your town, and the stranger and the orphan and the widow who are in your midst, in the place where the Lord your God chooses to establish his name. You shall remember that you were slaves in Egypt, and you shall carefully follow these statutes. Everyone must give as he is able, according to the blessing the Lord your God has given you.